It's more House of the Dead Overkill. The final 2 levels left. TJ's gone, but Caro and Clement are still here.
Yay!
We're at the story. We're like getting really into the meat of the story now.
Jailhouse Judgment.
I love like the little touch of like every single level has its own like poster and no like cheesy as shit like intro trailer. Just the kind of attention to detail this game provides. It's second to none. 'Cause I mean like this is a good example of a short game just being so lovingly made. The replay value was just off the chains, as the kids said 16 years ago.
And this music that plays before you start all the levels is really like
So
sexy and
yeah.
jazzy.
It's sexy and smooth.
Feel it.
Like the Varla Guns one is probably my favorite.
Varla
So
Guns.
like it's so like hip and poppy.
What the fuck?
You two gentlemen smell like
And here
How
is
rude!
I'm gonna do my very best not
Clement meet Clement.
Oh my
Dun,
god!
dun, dun.
What the fuck?
Holy shit, I need to see a dentist.
Damn, Clement, get some sleep, man. I mean, like, I know, like, I know Lost World on the 3DS ain't great, man. But put a fucking down, get some sleep.
This will be our Steve Buscemi replacement for today.
entirely accurate, Detective Washington. You see, I'm not
It's like Steve Buscemi's voice, but he looks like Crispin Glover.
He looks
a weird mix.
He looks like if Crispin Glover had acid thrown in his face. That's what this guy looks like.
So Crispin Glover normally.
Oh, that's not fair. That's not fair.
flashing left and right with every
I too have to piss, so this is accurate.
What?
He's just pissing right there? What is this?
Oh,
This is amazing.
You said acid, please burn through the floor.
So yes, there's nothing about this game is for kids. So yes.
myself. Imagine if I had
you mean that giant M on the box?
Well, see, where I come from, my box has a giant 18 label. Which means you have to be 18 to play it.
first impression. Indeed.
You don't have time for this piss.
Mutants, you say? Can't say I have any idea what you're talking about.
So you can't, just like Walking Dead, you can't call them zombies.
In the middle of the night, I got told there was trouble at my prison.
At least in that, they established that zombies don't exist in that universe. With this, it's just them being picky. They're like, oh, they're not zombies. It's like one of those people who are like, oh, the zombies in World War Z aren't actually zombies. They're infected.
Well, again, if you want to really get anal fanboy pedantic about it, technically, unless magical voodoo is involved, they're not a zombie.
Technically, but it's still like zombie is considered a reanimated corpse.
Now it is. Originally, it was kind of like it had to be through magical voodoo. But then things like Night of the Living Dead were just like, yeah, fuck it, they just come back to life for no good reason.
What was it before? What was before Night of the Living Dead? Because I don't really know about like the pre-evolution of zombies before Romero.
I know there was a bunch of it in like books, and one of the earliest examples of a zombie-like story actually comes from an old Smurfs comic. Where
The Black Smurfs.
where one of the Smurfs gets infected, and they start biting the other Smurfs, and they change color and get filled with rage.
Oh my god.
Ganap.
Yeah, which Smurfs is fucked up. If anyone, that's not even the most fucked up thing Smurfs ever did. If you want to be depressed for the rest of your life, look up I believe it's the Smurfs UNICEF advert, where it starts with all the Smurfs just happily singing along, and then Smurf Village gets fucking bombed. And it ends with Baby Smurf alone crying while Smurf Village just burns.
That's quite the series finale.
It's it's second only to dinosaurs. In what the fuck? This is wrong.
Jesus Christ.
That sounds like a Robot Chicken sketch. Doesn't sound like a real thing.
It wasn't part of the TV show. It was made as an advert, as like an anti-war advert in like I believe the early 90s, and it only aired in France. But it's on YouTube, so you know, Stefan, look for it and splice it in here.
Oh God.
Yes,
Oh, no.
do it.
Hey, kom naar Smurfenland, welkom allemaal. Ja, kom naar Smurfenland, een land van pracht en praal.
Fuck.
Like we joked about the last part, but this could literally be from a Walking Dead video game.
And this is better. Well, I don't know about the Telltale game, but this is a lot better than like the actual Walking Dead game that came out.
Well, it's like like most Telltale games. That's really more for the story. Gameplay, I always find is kind of just average at best in a Telltale game. You just go there just to play a you know playable episode of the TV show.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
well, I mean, like there was the Walking Dead game which starred Daryl and Merle. That was just kind of very
shoot 'em
very
up,
mediocre.
yeah.
It was just a very mediocre third-person shooter.
It was pretty easy to break because, like, you can just melee the zombies in the head, and if they all line up to the door where you're at, they'll just come one by one, and you just like have a whole pile of zombies just in the hallway.
That's what that's what I loved about Transformers War for Cybertron. Is that like, you know, every Transformer had like multiple weapons, but your melee attack was a one-hit kill. So if you got in close, you could just like destroy Decepticons with no problem. In the sequel, they were like, maybe we should not do that. So you can't just one shot with your fist anymore.
Give me your head.
So Clement's the warden of the prison.
Yep. Also, these Riot Shield guys are the worst. Because I honestly have no idea how to beat them. I just kind of keep shooting at them until they die.
Fucking Sniper Joes.
Which normally result. Yeah, it's in Sniper Joes. Stupid shields. which is why Base is the best, because he can shoot off those shields.
I always wondered why Dr. Light never just made it another fucking shield for Mega Man to have.
It's made out of vibranium.
Well, all the fucking Sniper Joes have one. Why don't Mega Man steal one of theirs?
Because Wily lives in Wakanda, so he has an infinite supply of it.
Oh, I see how it is, Stefan. When the woman's in her Brio saver, you sick fuck. You fucking pervert.
That girl you can't shoot no matter what. Certain characters, if you try to shoot, there'll be a giant like no sign. It'll be just like, nope, can't do that. Doesn't work.
Civilian busters.
Also, this is when the game started getting hard, so it'd be like, maybe I should start trying a little bit more.
Shake my head.
Well, I've not been not trying, if that's what you think.
Again, most.
I mean, you did get a B rank, Stefan. Just saying.
Better than a
If
C
this were
rank.
my Let's Play, I would have gotten S ranks on every single stage.
I gotta get all the rings. I gotta do a no death run.
Clement would have done a simultaneous LP where he plays the PS3 and Wii version at the same time.
Well, I mean, I did play. I did do Typing of the Dead, so I technically did.
You did 2 levels.
is very
You
true.
did 2 levels, not the entire game.
Yeah, because all the rest of the levels are the exact same as the Wii version.
But what I'm saying is Clement would have done that because he's a true professional.
The sentences are gotta be different. The sentences are probably quirky and funny. Get back to it.
That is true.
So I forget, Stefan, I think we talked about it in a previous part, but was that PS3 remaster or remake and the Typing of the Dead, was that the last console release for House of the Dead? 'Cause I think that there was that iOS piece of shit at one point, but like that there's been no console love for this franchise.
I
since-
believe so. I'm gonna do. Yep, House of the Dead Overkill was the last release. Typing of the Dead Overkill was the last release in 2013. We haven't had anything since.
And given Sega's current track record of using their other franchises that don't involve a Blue Hedgehog who should be dead at this point, it's unlikely we'll get another one anytime soon.
There's a House of the Dead track on Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed.
Yeah,
There's a.
there is, but I forget. I think it was either flat out removed from the German version, or the track had to be like toned down and it wasn't allowed to be called House of the Dead because of Germany.
That's dumb.
I feel like it still says Curian Mansion
Yes.
in the North American version.
That's what it is. Yeah, they can't call it House of the Dead.
Yeah, it's weird because especially like even despite like Sega's whole not making other games thing, that they still are very like with their arcade games. They still do a lot of that because that's like their most profitable thing. So I don't know why they wouldn't like make more House of the Deads, or maybe it's just, I guess it's just cheaper to just keep reporting the old House of the Deads.
Well, did House of the Dead 4 come out before or after this?
House of the Dead 4 was before this.
Okay. So yeah, well,
Actually,
well then, if that's the case, yeah, I wonder why Sega haven't made like a House of the Dead 5, or at least maybe tried to port. Well, I was gonna say, how come they haven't tried to port this to the arcades? But I don't think most arcades owners would want a game this foul in its cutscenes to be played
Yeah.
in their places.
yeah, because the only thing you could do is just do the levels, but that's boring. You gotta have the cutscenes.
No, I mean, look at the House of the Dead arcade cabinets used to have the cutscenes, so I can just imagine this being in like a Chuck E. Cheese. Suck, motherfucker.
It's time for the final battle.
Welcome to your doom.
No joke. I the last time I took my niece to a Chuck E. Cheese like over a year ago, and I'm trying to remember, there was some kind of shooting arcade cabinet game there, and for the life of me, I'm trying to remember if it was a House of the Dead game in a Chuck E. Cheese.
Well, I mean, for some reason they're like, oh yeah, shooting's okay as long as you're not killing actual people.
It might.
My local Chuck E. Cheese, that's pretty violent.
Made by Sega.
Yeah, that one.
They made that. I mean, like Sega made. They have the Jurassic Park one, the Transformers one. They were pretty much the same game, just substitute giant dinosaurs for Decepticons.
And then they do a damn good job about it.
I forget. Did Sega have a hand in the Luigi's Mansion arcade game?
They might have.
They might have.
Yeah.
I think it was either
sounds
Sega
familiar.
or Capcom. It was one of them. One of them made it. Maybe Sega.
Oh god, I played that a couple months ago at an arcade in Chicago. I forgot. It was either Sega or Capcom though.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not great, but it's
thought it was fun.
It's
It was developed by Oh, I died. So yeah, when you die, you just spend half of your points. That's essentially how it goes.
Oh, that's good. Like, can you actually like ever game over? Like, do you run out of points and then there's no way to pay?
Yeah, you could, but it's like you have to die a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to try to game over that badly.
you have to be
Because a game this cheesy and silly, I wouldn't want to die a lot anyway. So
TJ bad to game over this game.
And I looked. It's developed by Capcom and published by Sega.
Okay, double
Oh,
whammy.
both.
Got three companies somehow got along to make one game.
You mean Smash doesn't count?
Well, no other company actually is involved. They just say, okay, you can use our character.
I meant that in those regards.
But I just mean like, but with this one, it's like, oh, it's a Nintendo property made by Capcom, produced by Sega. So
Okay,
it's,
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like
I
them three actually working together to do something.
And now back to From Dusk Till Dawn.
No joke. I would imagine the first movie was a big inspiration for some of the visuals, especially for like Vala's design. Very.
Oh, for sure.
And plot twist: Clement is the villain.
Yes! I was hoping that was the case.
Yes.
I'm behind the whole
There's Papa Caesar. It's like, oh nope, they pulled the rug. They shanghaied you. You thought, oh, this guy's the bad guy. Nope, it's the random guy who shows up acting really creepy at the last second. It's him.
I would have loved it if this put a legit From Dusk Till Dawn, and he just comes out in like bra and panties with a big snake and just dances seductively for the tied up Caesar.
I got tired of the Let's Play business. Now I'm into making mutants.
Everyone was making fun of me for enjoying Sonic Lost World, so I'll fucking show them.
to get revenge. Maybe he's good for sloppy seconds.
Oh,
Ew.
boy.
He's a goner.
Yeah, Clement, you sick bastard.
And just because I piss a lot in parking lots does not mean I'm a sick bastard.
So I think Clement, next year, I think you have to dress up like this guy for Halloween.
The funny, this is honestly the kind of custom character I usually have in video games, which is kind of scary. I always make custom characters in a suit. So the fact that this guy's just a guy in a suit is like, oh boy.
I love it if there was an option for you to get this guy as your avatar in Sonic Forces. You double fist.
Yes, Dr. Eggman, I'm going to kill you with my mutants.
Oh my god, this dialogue!
Mother.
He's a mama's boy.
Where's my fucking medicine?
That's amazing. Oh, Jesus, no. No. I do not relate to this character at all. I mean, I do. Kind of. Well, no.
Let
me rephrase that,
This is
'cause-
going to end all well.
Oh god.
I love my mother, just not in that way.
This is the part where Clement has to reflect on his family life and his values.
Oh god.
So Clement, you're saying that if your mother needed it, you wouldn't just raise an army of mutants to go out and get medicine for her. What kind of son are you?
Look, there's some things you just don't do. Okay? I love my family, but not that much.
Oh,
Oh no!
No! Oh no!
so I wanna
Oh,
I wanna
God.
remember that and cut to the bit where Clement's like, yeah, I identify with this character, and then just play that over and over again.
Oh God!
I bet you regret joining us now, don't you, Clement?
Is the title of this video going to be Clement makes up with his mother?
It is
Yes.
now.
I mean, it's not a lie if I do
Make
that.
that the title.
I just didn't say which Clement.
There isn't a sex scene, is there?
I hope so.
But then this game would be rated AO.
Oh, thank God, Killer Croc.
Yeah, these guys kind of look like Killer Croc mixed with like Leatherhead.
Solomon Grundy.
In between my Let's Plays.
Ooh.
This is what Clement does every summer when he takes a vacation. He just fucks around with mutants.
Lies.
No, you idiots! Don't fight each other.
Ticklers.
What the hell?
I really want to play this now after seeing all of this. Oh my god.
Good.
This is great. This is great stuff.
So he just made it easier for you. What the hell?
Oh my god.
Brutus.
To tie it back into Sonic, because that's all we know and all we can do in the English-made Sonic the comic. Dr. Robotnik made a super badnik called Brutus, or is it Bruticus? I forget. It's one of them, and it is literally the only villain in that comic book Sonic was never able to actually defeat.
Because
Did he beat evil Supersonic?
Technically, he outwits Evil Supersonic, not in a physical fight, but he outwits Evil Supersonic a few times. But Brutus, like every time they had a fight, Sonic would lose, and it was ultimately Robotnik who defeats him.
Huh.
I need to read Sonic the comic.
Sonic the comic is great. They brought it up briefly at that IDW panel where the answer to 80% of every question asked, where we'll tell you at some point in the future, not now. But someone asked about STC, and because IDW have a history of whenever they acquire a license of like re-releasing old materials, they've done it with like Transformers, G.I. Joe, Turtles, that type of stuff. So I'm hopeful that in maybe a couple years they'll start re-releasing. Well, I guess it would just be releasing STC for the first time in America, because you guys never got it. And maybe they'll get around to re-releasing Archie and maybe finishing that story, because I did also have a history of taking old franchises and finishing old story arcs. So maybe one day we'll get to the original Archie issue 300 that Ian Flynn planned.
And since Ian Flynn had mentioned, he specifically mentions that, so there is a possibility.
I mean, I would imagine they probably talked about this, but I think IDW, they'll probably wait a year or so to establish a new brand, and also just to make sure that interest is still there. And also the thing about what's great about IDW is that they actually release books when they say they do. Like Archie would just solicit like 1,000 books and never release any of them.
Yep. And even their own books, they'll just be like, nah, we'll wait like 4 months to release issue 2.
There's been like Afterlife of Archie, last issue was like a year and a half ago.
I remember like the Betty and Veronica book. They had like the first issue, and then like 4 months later, issue 2 came out, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and I believe now that book's cancelled.
Or they say it was just a mini series. Sure.
Quote unquote.
They say that, but I'm pretty sure only 2 issues came out. They didn't even finish the miniseries.
I don't know. I don't even know if like the third. Yeah, it's they don't know what they're doing. It's pretty obvious.
Oh well, that's China's problem now. So this boss looks pretty easy for the second to last level.
It is. The hardest thing about it is whenever he sends out the police police with the riot shields, because I'm like, I don't know how to kill these guys. I just have to wait for them to like come up close, and then I can shoot. I can like what's the word? Push through. I forget the term.
It looks like this boss is just long.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, is it like me with Umbrella Chronicles for the Wii, where like you start to get tired after a while because the boss fights go on too long?
Most of the boss fights don't go on for that long.
Yeah. Clement, for some reason, I thought you were gonna say, is it like me, long but not very hard? I was like, okay, Clement, didn't need to know that.
Well, no, that's the other Clement of the game. Who is nothing like me at all. We have nothing in common.
Sure.
You both like suits.
I go to a dentist.
Do you piss in parking lots when?
Hold Well, yeah, but that's neither the point.
Twix, every man does that.
Also, people were they were looking at him when he did that.
Hey, maybe I like an audience. You don't know.
Don't kink shame Clement. So I feel likes to pee in front of other people and stick his tongue down his mother's throat. Who we the judge?
Our feature presentation, Jailhouse Judgment, will resume.
But Jailhouse Judgment just finished.
The next episode isn't Jailhouse Judgment Part 2?
Nope.
Damn.
This is false advertising.
You only got
You got
5 out
C.
of 10 brains? And you only got a C rank?
Wait, does that say Gorgasm?
Yeah, the Gorgasm is like the highest combo chain you can get.
What?
I don't know what that is.
The fuck is that?
I was trying to say Difomgisdan.
The fuck does that mean?
What?
It's a deep cut reference to the FTA Mykonos fan All Star Gaming. One of them is Difomgisdan.
You're fucking fired.
Ouch.